So this is the first video that I've made without wearing a cap or a hat. So you see that I do have lush, beautiful hair for a 57-year-old, slightly graying, so it's the balance of maturity and some youthfulness. I wanted to talk today, this afternoon, about a beer from Ommegang, which is one of my favorite breweries in the whole world. This is Mother of Dragons, based on Game of Thrones. Not much for like commercial promotions like this, but this beer was priced pretty nicely. I go to a distributor of distributors here in Pennsylvania, which is, they distribute to restaurants and other beer distributors. So they have a kind of a quirky collection of beers. They don't have mainstream, like across the board availability. But they'll have really good stuff, and then they'll have some average stuff. And during COVID, I think they had to buy back a lot of beer that they had distributed, as the restaurants and the other distributors couldn't get rid of it. In Pennsylvania, the state stores were, man, they were closed for quite some time, and then you had to like try to log on online, and it was crazy. Like, it was so inefficient, so poorly run. But regardless, the distributors for beer were still open, thankfully. And so I got a really, really good deal on this beer. So what kind of beer is it? I know I've been on a Belgian kick for a bit. And this has Belgian elements in it, but it's a stout. It's a porter. Well, same difference. It's smoked porter with some Kriek. So it's got cherry in it. Yeah, which is kind of a Belgian flavor. You can have a Kriek beer, which tends to be Belgian. So it's a smoked porter, which means that they have smoked the malt more than typical, usually by running smoke over it, not just heating it. So it's equivalent to like a German Rausch beer to some extent. But the cherry element's interesting, and I'll be honest, I didn't like this beer when I first got it. It's kind of grown on me a bit, I would say, and now I'm running out of it. But it came in I think there was a total of 12 bomber bottles, or maybe it was 8. But it was a really good price. It was probably like $4 for this entire bottle. And this is what it looks like in the glass. So it's a darker color, as you might imagine. But it's got a nice cherry flavor, so it's got the porter kind of depth. And then the Kriek is just kind of cuts across that flavor with some acidity and some tartness. And Ommegang, if you haven't heard of Ommegang, they are a Belgian-owned brewery that's in Cooperstown, New York. Now, Cooperstown is a pain in the ass to get to, I'll be honest. There's just no easy way to get to Cooperstown from this part of Pennsylvania. How it became the origin of where baseball started in America, I have no idea. Maybe they were so bored they didn't have anything else to do, so they just started batting around a ball with a stick. So Cooperstown's it's a tough place to get to. It's a nice little town, though. And up until maybe the last couple of years, Ommegang was doing a Belgian Fest every summer towards the end of the summer, and they would have camping on the grounds, which is an extremely good idea if you're serving Belgian. You don't want people driving after that's over. My wife and I went about a decade ago, and she drove back from the festival because we were staying in Cooperstown proper, and it was like $80 a ticket even 10 years ago. So I want my money's worth, and I enjoyed it. So this is a good beer, very tasty. It's a little bit better when it warms up a bit because the cherry flavor can come out, and the porter does well if it's a little bit warmer. So if you can find it, I don't know if there's a lot of this around anymore. It's fairly low in alcohol, relatively speaking. I think it's like 6 point something, 6.6. You would think it'd be higher, but it's not. This got a good taste, so I just want to kind of build my beer repertoire a little bit beyond the typical Belgian thing that I've been doing recently.